Despite the entire world declaring New Year, New Me, the moment the clock struck 12 on December 31st, 2021 hasn't magically fixed the problems that plagued 2020 overnight. For the video game industry in particular, while developers and publishers have adapted to the new working from home normal, producing both AAA and indie video games has continued to be difficult, resulting in a bunch of games having their release dates being switched out. Now, hopefully all of the following titles will be worth the wait, but I'm Josh from WhatCulture.com, and these are 11 video games that have already been delayed in 2021. Number 11, Gran Turismo 7. There are a few certainties in this world. The sun will always rise in the morning, Scott Tailford will always keep hair gel companies in business, and every new Gran Turismo game will get delayed. Sadly, but understandably, Sony has taken a pretty heavy hit when it comes to their 2021 lineup, and Gran Turismo 7 is perhaps the highest profile example. In a recent interview with GQ, Sony's Jim Ryan, or more specifically a Sony spokesperson who interjected for Jim, clarified that due to pandemic-related difficulties, the PS5 exclusive racer has slipped out of its 2021 window to 2022. Now, honestly, there's actually a high chance that this one would have been pushed anyway because the series is infamous when it comes to delays. But at least fans have been told early this time around, and we can hopefully look forward to playing it in 2022. Number 10, Riders Republic. In what's to become something of a trend on this list, we should have actually been playing Riders Republic right now, but instead, we actually don't know when it's going to come out at all. Ubisoft's MMO Extreme Sports title, which is set to allow up to 50 players to snowboard, BMX, and even skydive across iconic US parks, was originally set to launch February 25th, but was delayed to some point later this year, back in January. Ubisoft is no stranger to these last-minute delays, having pushed Watch Dogs Legion, Immortals Phoenix Rising, and Rainbow Six Quarantine last year right at the last minute. Still, this has come as quite a surprise, but hopefully we get to play it sooner rather than later. Number 9, The Lord of the Rings Gollum. As perhaps the only person in the universe looking forward to The Lord of the Rings Gollum, I can say that this one hurt particularly hard. The upcoming Middle-earth adaptation has been in development for a few years now, but it wasn't until 2020 that we got our first proper look at the game. The first stills of the action-adventure title showed off the titular creature in question, who looks a bit cuddlier than the Andy Serkis movie counterpart. Originally, the tie-in was set to drop this year, but then in January, the developers at Daedalic Entertainment announced that it was instead coming 2022. This was in order to deliver what they're calling a faithful adaptation of J.R.R. Tolkien's epic. While little is known about how the game actually plays at this point, as long as you get to smash some fish off some rocks and then berate Samwise Gamgee at least once, I'll be happy. Number 8, Returnal. The first big PS5 exclusive out this year is Returnal. The third-person shooter sees players trapped in a time loop on an alien planet, with each new restart after death giving you a bit more insight into why protagonist Celine is in this strange predicament and just what's going on with the Lovecraftian beasties trying to kill them at every step. The visuals seen in the pre-release trailers so far look incredible, while developer Housemarque's bread and butter combat looks as twitchy and as satisfying as it's ever been, just blown out to bigger proportions. However, while the title was originally slated for March 2021, it's since been pushed back to April 30th of the same year. In the grand scheme of things, that isn't a major blow, and fans will get their chance to get a hold of this next-gen exclusive sooner rather than later. Number 7, Overwatch 2. You'd be forgiven for forgetting that Overwatch 2 actually existed. Until a new gameplay trailer dropped the other week, there wasn't too much hype surrounding Blizzard's sequel to their epic hero shooter. Despite the runaway success of the original, this sequel has kind of failed to come out the gate swinging with a campaign that's informing us why we should get excited for this follow-up and why we should drop down money on pre-orders. Fortunately for the devs though, they're now going to have a whole year to get the marketing in gear and get us excited about this game. That's because the sequel has slipped from its original 2021 release and is now slated for some time in 2022. After Blizzard's troubles over the past few years, a lot is riding on Overwatch 2 being a success, and it's probably smart that they have delayed it to make sure it's as good as it can be and lives up to the caliber of the first game. Number 6, Diablo IV. Continuing the 1-2 punch of Blizzard delays, Diablo IV was also announced to have been delayed at the same time as Overwatch 2. As mentioned in the last entry, the publisher has a lot to prove with its upcoming titles, and Diablo IV in particular trailer cannot disappoint. There was already growing resentment in this fanbase a few years ago when a mobile game, Diablo Immortal, was announced over a proper Diablo IV. And after the frankly embarrassing Warcraft 3 Reforged debacle in 2020, there isn't much confidence that Blizzard can do their legacy franchises justice at the moment. Fortunately though, the response to Diablo IV in particular has been mostly positive. It's become clear now that Blizzard has started to learn from its previous mistakes, including those from the launch of Diablo 3. Unfortunately though, that means the game is going to need a little bit more time in the oven and has been pushed from 2021 to 2022. All is not lost for fans of the franchise though, as recently Blizzard announced that a remaster of the second game, titled Diablo II Resurrected, will indeed be filling the gap in 2021 and will be releasing later this year. Number 5, Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake. Fans have been clamoring for a return to the iconic Prince of Persia franchise for like a decade now, so when rumors began swirling that a remake of The Sands of Time was in the works, everyone lost their goddamn minds. It seemed like a surefire hit, but then we all saw it. The reveal trailer made it abundantly obvious that this wasn't any kind of lavish remake with cutting-edge production values or major overhauls to the original title. Instead, it was more akin to a remaster. It's hard to blame the developers for this one though, as the trouble with the game's reveal isn't really down to the work that was on display. It's just that the likes of Resident Evil 2 and the Crash N. trilogy has elevated expectations when it comes to a full-price remake like this, and it's clear that this Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake just wasn't envisioned to be of that same level of production value. After feedback rolled in from fans, the game was actually delayed once to March 2021, but then it was delayed again indefinitely in February, presumably to make more extensive overhauls after the feedback was taken on board. Number 4, Horizon Forbidden West. Horizon Forbidden West easily suffered the most low-key delay on this entire list, to the point where you might not have even noticed that it was delayed at all. But it has been, because when the game was officially announced last year, the trailer ended with a general 2021 tease, but subsequent PS5 sizzle reels actually referred to it as releasing in the first half of 2021. In later trailers though, this was subtly revised to read now the second half of 2021. After this caused a bit of confusion in the fanbase, journalist Jason Schreier did take to Twitter to confirm that the game did indeed receive a delay. Recently though, Sony's Jim Ryan has stressed that Horizon Forbidden West is on track to release this year, saying in an interview that this, alongside Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart and Returnal, are the games he's confident will drop this year. It's arguably the most anticipated title Sony has on its slate for 2021, so it would be a big blow if Jim was wrong and this did slip to next year. Number 3, Hogwarts Legacy. Despite a swanky unveiling last September, the next-gen Harry Potter game Hogwarts Legacy was swiftly delayed from its 2021 release date to a vague point in 2022. The official statement released in January as to why was quite short and a little vague, with them just kind of mentioning that they needed more time for the game to live up to fans' expectations. However, it's been a bumpy ride for the game since its announcement those few short months ago, as it's been marred in controversy pretty much ever since it was officially unveiled. Initially, it was due to accusations of transphobia leveled at Harry Potter creator J.K. Rowling, and more recently, the game's lead designer has come under fire for his own views, which has led to the game actually being banned entirely from being discussed on gaming forum Reset Era. With the title now dated for 2022, it's going to be a long year ahead for Hogwarts Legacy. Number 2, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. As the months roll on, it's become clear that Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 has entered a pretty deep development hell. The long-awaited follow-up to cult classic RPG Bloodlines, this game was actually supposed to release last March, which obviously didn't happen. It was delayed until the first half of 2021, but then a few months later, the developers announced that they, like so many others, had encountered unforeseen issues with production due to the pandemic and could no longer commit to hitting that new target. Sadly, things have only gotten worse in the months since for the game. In February, a major overhaul was announced for the project, with the original developers being booted off it and a brand new studio being brought in to finish up the work that they'd started. As a result of this big shakeup, the pre-orders were cancelled and no new release date was given. It was just delayed indefinitely. We'll probably have to wait a little while before we know exactly what the hell went down with this game, but we might be waiting even longer to actually play it for ourselves. Number 1, Kena Bridge of Spirits. Kena Bridge of Spirits is being developed by only 15 people, but you'd never be able to tell. Take a look at any of the trailers released so far, and what you'll see is a gorgeous adventure game that looks more like a Pixar movie than it does a regular release. However, Kena was originally envisioned as being a launch title for the PlayStation 5, but was later pushed back to March 2021. Then, at Sony's recent State of Play in February, a brand new release date was announced, that being August 24th, 2021, so it had been delayed yet again. While that did come as a bit of a surprise, especially because a lot of fans were kind of convinced that it was going to be March's PlayStation Plus game, it should be noted that the most recent trailer was easily its best, somehow looked even more stunning than what we saw last year. Consequently, this is absolutely one you should be watching, as it could be one of the crowning achievements for Sony's first year of the PlayStation 5. So that's our list. What do you guys think down in the comments below? What do you think about these delays? Are there any you're absolutely good about, or are you content to wait a little bit longer? While you're down there, could you also give us a like, share, subscribe, and head over back to WhatCulture.com for more lists and news like this every single day. Even if you don't, though, I've been Josh. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.